I think we're still lacking most of the details, but I think the market's doing well in China because of an increase in liquidity that has been very strong in the first couple of months of the year, and the expectation that the worst possible outcome on the trade front is now a very low probability.
There are U.S. industries that look like could benefit the most here, potentially. Agriculture, energy, and these are in terms of U.S. Industries, an expanded financial sector opportunity with regard to China. Are those three places that you think the activity will most be centered around?
I think those are the most likely ones, energy, agriculture in particular.
And what about financial services?
Well, I think that's already well underway. They've licensed a whole new series of firms to have either majority or wholly foreign-owned companies in insurance, securities, asset management, and there are quite a few additional applications in the queue, so I think we will see more of those over the coming quarters.
And this all comes, as we mentioned, the National People's Congress is underway. Is that going to complicate some of the details, the announcements maybe that the U.S. wants to hear from China in terms of the trade deal? What are your expectations? What are we going to hear from the People's Congress? What agenda items are they expected to set here?
Well, the People's Congress is generally very domestic-oriented. It talks a lot about, the challenges they're facing in terms of the domestic economy, what the policy response will be in terms of fiscal policy and to some extent monetary policy, but they don't usually tend to get into issues related to foreign trade and investment. Obviously, it's a very important backdrop. Everybody knows what's going on. But again, the administration in China is in a difficult position. They don't want to overclaim on whatever the agreement might be. They don't know what the final agreement will look like.
And Nick, what's your view about the Chinese currency these days? Which way is China trying to nudge it?
Well, I think over the last several quarters, they've been trying to keep the currency from depreciating. It's very clear the daily fix works in that direction. The requirement they imposed for offshore forward transactions last fall was, again, trying to hold up the currency. So I think the currency has depreciated in the last couple of quarters, but much less than it would have without the Chinese policy response.
And finally, what concerns do you have about any reports about this trade deal?
I'm not sure I caught the question exactly. What?
Sure. What concerns do you have about the trade deal that's shaping up, if any?
Well, I think, the main concern is whether or not it's really going to deal with structural issues or whether the U.S. administration is going to settle for some increased purchases of U.S. goods or whether the Chinese are going to make some significant moves structurally, for example, reducing subsidies to state-owned enterprises, which are very, very large. And the administration has talked about getting those reduced or eliminated, but that's a tough ask.